Welcome to Eat With Your Eyes. I'll be your chef and your host, Oscar Taylor. Today's menu item is barbecue burger sliders. We get right started to this menu items. I got the ingredients listed up front. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get the hamburger out of the refrigerator. We're gonna get this recipe started. First thing I got for us is a pound of ground hamburger. And I got 1 pound of onion. We're gonna dice the onion up finely. I'm just gonna mix that with all the ingredients here. I got a few seasons. Now for your burgers, you can season the burgers basically to your own taste. Now I like a lot of flavor in everything that I cook. So therefore I put garlic salt, lemon pepper, and get a little bit of Cajun seasons off in there. Now you can add your own seasons. You can just keep it simple and just do salt and pepper for your hamburgers, but I personally, like I said before, I like a little flavor in it. Who don't like a little flavor? All right, now with your cutting procedure, remember always keep your finger in that C section. You don't want to end up with a nub at the end of the night. You don't get to eat nothing and end up burning up the high spot. So just keep your fingers curled up, keep them pulled back. Now we're gonna dice these onions up kind of fine, because what we're doing, we're making mini burgers, so we don't want to have big chunks of onions in the burgers, and the burger's not gonna be all that big. So try to cut the onions up fairly small. Now the easiest way to keep yourself from crying while cooking your onions is have a sharp knife. A sharp knife always works best for anything, So we go ahead and dice up these onions and get those babies good and out the way. We're only gonna use a half an onion for this recipe right now, because the onion weighs out probably about 2 pounds. So we're gonna use a half an onion and put all of this inside our recipe. Take this and just place this inside the large bowl. We're gonna mix everything up in this one bowl right here. I'm just gonna take and put the onions in there, the hamburger, and then follow up with the seasonings. And this recipe goes good for either like a late night snack, or either if you want to do something during the football season. You can have this with like finger foods, do like a little finger food platter. You can have the burgers, you can have the turkey sliders, ham and cheese sliders, but tonight we're gonna do the barbecue burger sliders. Alright, just pop your pack for your hamburger. Now, there's plenty types of hamburger meat that's out there. I chose to pick the ground chuck, and that's 80% meat, 20% fat. And with that, it actually keeps the burgers from shrinking more when you cook them, because when it's 20% fat in the burger, the fat sort of renders off when the heat hits the pan. So what that does is actually make your burger prevents it from shrinking, because it has less fat in your burgers. Alright, now we got our seasons in. I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands again. Like I said, the key to actually eating good is having a safe, clean kitchen. So you want to continuously wash your hands through every time you touch anything raw. Alright, now we got that out the way. Get back over here. Let's get these seasons in the meat. Alright, like I said, I got the lemon pepper. We're going to use probably about a whole teaspoon of the lemon pepper. I like using a grinder myself, because it actually keeps everything fresh. The peppercorns and actually the grated lemon pepper, it actually keeps the recipe actually having more flavor than that of your pre-grounded seasons. Probably about a half a tablespoon of your garlic salt. And then we'll do another half a tablespoon of your Cajun season. You can double up your recipe and add more pepper to it, deciding if you like more of a hot type of food, because the Cajun season is not a hot food. The Cajun season only comes from the color that it produces, and it produces that color because of the paprika that they add to the season. So that's the only reason why they call it Cajun season. It's not that it's a very hot season. Alright? Now once you have all the ingredients mixed up into the bowl, just sort of put your hands into it and just get right there up inside the meat. Just mix your meat up. You want to get everything mixed up fairly well. You want to get all the ingredients from the top to the bottom of the meat. Now once you have everything mixed up fairly well inside your bowl, the next thing to start to do is start to shape your burgers. After we have this nice and mixed up, what we're going to do next is we're just going to start putting these burgers together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make 12 3-inch hamburgers. And what we're going to do is to make it the even amount of burgers. The easiest way to do it is to actually place your meat inside the bowl and flatten it out. Once you take and flatten your meat out, you just start to section it off and divide it up. Divide it up into fours. Once you actually have your fours, then from there, you can just start to section off your meat and just to actually have your patties into actually a smaller form. You want to take and just probably have a patty probably about this big around. The easiest way to do it is to roll your patties into a ball first. Once you have your patties into a ball, take and place the patties, pressing them down in the middle, sort of creating dimples in the middle of your burgers. So that way, once you start cooking your burgers, once they start to plump up, the thinness in the middle will actually create an even burger. So that way you don't have many meatballs in the pan once you start cooking. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to a small commercial break. When we come back, we'll be throwing the burgers in the pan, finishing up the barbecue burger slider recipe. I'm your chef and your host. I'll be back with you in probably about the next 5 minutes. All right, welcome back to Eat With Your Eyes. Again, I'm your chef and your host, Oscar Taylor. Now we're back in the kitchen. I had some of the burgers already pre-cooked here, so you can sort of get an idea of what the finished product's gonna look like. I'm gonna go ahead and start cooking off the rest of these burgers, and then we're gonna start preparing our sauce and the bread for these burgers. All right, get back over here. Like I say, wash your hands every time you touch raw products. I hate for your eyebrows or maybe one of your ears to fall off because you forgot to wash your hands after you touch some raw hamburger or a raw piece of steak or something of that nature. So continue to wash your hands. It's always a good look to do that. Alright, now that we got those burgers already in our pan, what we're going to do next is we're going to go start preparing our spicy mayonnaise. And one of the things I like to do with my spicy mayonnaise, sometimes I like to use a little hot sauce instead of using the seasonings. But tonight we're just going to put it together and we're going to utilize our seasonings. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start just briefly. We're going to get us a spoon, scoop out our mayonnaise. We're going to get us a fork to whisk everything together. Just basically just going to take, I'm going to scoop out probably about, I give or take probably about a half a cup of mayonnaise. Cap that off. We're just gonna add our Cajun seasoning. Now, you just sort of add the Cajun seasoning to taste. Some people like more taste than others. Some like the more of a mayonnaise taste. Me personally, like I said before, I like flavor. So, I just want to add a little bit, and a little bit more, and just a little bit more, and a little bit more won't hurt either. All right. So just sort of just mix that all together. Again, the spicy mayonnaise is just, just sort of like a topping sauce to add to the barbecue burger sliders. We're gonna end up sitting these on top of sweet Hawaiian rolls, and the rolls come in 12 a pack. So what you do is you just take and you split your rolls, place them in the oven to toast them off, so that way you got a soft center, nice crust on the outside. Put them in the oven for probably about 250 degrees, so that way, you get time to let the burgers just the bun just sit in the oven, not really dry out in the middle, get that nice crust on the outside, so that way the burgers juicy just like that on the outside it is in the inside. Alright, come over here and we're going to flip our burgers. It don't take too long to cook these burgers, but they're so small. Now, anytime you're cooking hamburger, you want to have an internal temperature of your meat. You want to have your internal temperature over 165 degrees, unless you're one of the people that like eating your meat rare. Now, with hamburgers, you want to cook hamburgers fully done, because not too many people like to bite into a hamburger and see a pink inside. So with that, you want to cook your meat to 165 or 175 degrees internal. All right, now that we done flipped over our burgers, we're going to just finish up some of the steps to actually finish up this process. We're going to get some lettuce out of the refrigerator, some shredded cheese, and we're going to add the rest of the ingredients to get these burgers together. Alright, just traditional shredded cheese. I like the sharp cheddar cheese because the sharp cheddar cheese adds flavor. Now I know you probably see in the grocery store sharp cheddar cheese, mild cheddar cheese, and cheddar cheese. Now there's no difference between the 3 different cheeses. The only difference is the age that's added to each cheese. The sharper the cheese, the older the cheese is. So that's all the difference is with that. Now with your head of lettuce, when you get your head of lettuce, you have that knot at the bottom of the head of lettuce. The easiest way to actually bust your lettuce open is to take and tap your head of lettuce on the ground or on your cutting board and twist the bottom of the core out, therefore taking the core up out of your lettuce. Then from there, you just take and cut your lettuce into sections because the burgers are in the slider form. We're just gonna cut this into 4s. And from there, we just sort of peel off our sections for our lettuce. And these will be just the pieces of lettuce that we add to the burgers at the end of the segment before we top these off and finish them off. We're just gonna go ahead and just put these lettuce slices in a bowl so that we have everything already pretty much sectioned off. So once these burgers finish up cooking, all we gotta do is just put them together and finish them off. Alright, there should be enough pieces of lettuce there. We shouldn't have too many pieces. It's only 12 hamburgers there. Alright. Okay. Alright, these burgers are finished up over here on the stove. Go ahead and pull these off. Alright. Go ahead and get that pan in the sink. Happy kitchen is a clean kitchen. Alright, since we got those already pulled off the stove, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and start getting our bread together. We got some of the buns already pre-toasted in the oven. Just pull out a few of those real quick. Let's get this thing set up. Alright. Here's our buns. Get our burgers lined up. Now this part here is a pretty simple process. All you're doing is actually adding the barbecue sauce to a bowl. Probably add probably about 1/4 of a cup of the barbecue sauce in the bowl. Sort of briefly just take and just dump all your burgers inside the bowl. Sort of just give them a slight little toss around inside the bowl. Therefore getting all your ingredients sort of mixed up with that barbecue sauce. Give each burger their own little flavor. Alright. Then in preparation of the burgers, all you're doing is you're actually just placing one burger on the bun. A little bit of sliced cheese. Get us a slice of this lettuce. Drop the lettuce on top here. Top each topping off. Just a little bit of that spicy mayonnaise. Alright. And now your burgers are complete. Catch y'all next week on Eat With Your Eyes. I'm your chef and your host, Oscar Taylor. And like my son would say, come back and eat it. This is my daddy out. I'll let you.